A monstrously important event is taking place right now, with a unionization vote being held. This is the first one, I think, that people really gave this really good chance of a union being formed at Amazon. And Bessemer, Alabama, those workers came out brave, risking their jobs, risking their basically livelihoods in order to have somewhat of a better life for them, especially. But an act that would basically radiate all throughout the United States at the various factories. If Bessemer can do it, Podunk Bessemer, then why not New York? Or why not, I don't know, Virginia, or any other factory that is out there for not just Amazon, but you must understand the level of union busting that Amazon engaged in, the spooks that they have on their payroll, the threats to get rid of people, in fact, getting rid of people who are trying to form this kind of union effort. Even going so far as to create this level of tension, even in the bathrooms. Like they were full bore going after anything that was going to try to form any kind of union, because what they know is what that I know is that the ability of a union, as opposed to it being a company and the weight of the company versus the individual, a union allows you an ability to argue and haggle and make choices as a collective and as a group, organize. That is not in Amazon's interests. And the fact that unions typically have people with higher wages, and that is something that typically radiates out. Amazon is entirely against it. I will tell you this, if that union formed, Amazon's stock price will get hit the very day after. If it looked like that union was going to form, the stock price would get hit. But in this case, Jeff Bezos might have been nervous earlier in the week, but based upon what it looks like the union vote is coming down to, not so much today. The union vote does not seem to be going forward. In fact, it seems to be getting crushed. This is Washington Post. The union trying to organize the workers at Amazon in Bessemer, Alabama, was basically pessimistic on Thursday as the tally came out. With about half of the ballots, 3,215 ballots counted, the no votes, 1,100, yes votes, 463. So basically the no votes for that union, no votes, 1,000, meaning 1,100 people said, no, I don't want the union. 463 said, yes, I want the union. Now, this is unfortunate, right? I mean, because if you think about it, that union was going to work in the best interest of those people as opposed to, let's say, them individually engaging with Amazon. But the catch becomes why? Why did that vote get crushed like that? Why are they losing this particular contest? And that gets more interesting because at that point, it's not necessarily as straightforward as the people didn't want the union. One of the guests that I had on today made the point about the union busting activities of Amazon, but also that Amazon cheated. And I was showing why I say Amazon cheated. Right here. Freedom of Information Act, created or pushed out by the the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union, the RWDSW, basically put out Freedom of Information requests. And those requests show something very, very interesting, even though a lot of the requests are redacted. It shows that despite being told that they can't have a mailbox, a drop box, because this was, again, a by-mail election, basically people were sending it off, and understand why that's important. By sending it off from your home, you have anonymity. Amazon does not know who you are if you are sending it off from your home in that way. If you have to walk in and put a vote into a box, on some level they are watching the individuals who are doing that. And they feel pressure. That pressure, especially if the thought of, I could lose my job, what if this unionization thing doesn't necessarily work? Are they going to come after me for it? Those type of things that take place. But the USPS installed an illegal ballot drop box during the union election, something that was not supposed to take place. And right here, the emails, I'll show it to you, right here. The emails were obtained through FOIA requests by the RWDSW. Many of the exchanges have almost been entirely redacted, and any mentions of Amazon officials has been removed, but there are key findings that are able to glean from the FOIA. Let's keep going. First, we learned that beginning January 8th, 1 month before the union vote begins, Amazon repeatedly calls United States Postal Service strategic account manager to say they want to install their own box. USPS team deliberates Amazon's request and says a private box may not, NOT, be utilized. Straightforward. UPS turns around and then installs one for them anyway. Amazon headquarters would like to be kept in the loop. A USPS official informs the entire national and local team. Again, National Labor Relations Board. This was not something that was supposed to be done. We don't know for sure, but in a series of redacted emails, it appears that for over the next week, Amazon and UPS haggle over the acquisition of a box, what kind of box to be installed, and how quickly it can be done. On February 3rd, a USPS official sends an email stating that it dedicated time and effort to physically altering a collection box that would meet Amazon's needs. The United States Postal Service says it is hollowing out a box that would allow for bulk ballot collection. Amazon demands USPS install the box by February 7th, 1 day before the union vote was to begin. USPS says it's working with Amazon to place that box in a convenient location on the Bessemer campus. As we documented in Grim Kim, Amazon had the ballot drop box installed in violation of explicit guidance from the federal government. The box is installed the evening of February 9th, late at night, under the cover of darkness. The mailbox was critical to Amazon's strategy because it wanted to pressure employees to bring ballots to work that they received at home in the mail. By doing so, they could pressure and monitor employees to submit no votes. Think about that. So they're told you can't install a ballot box in the facility. Federal government says, don't do that. You can't do that. Amazon says, yeah, we don't care that you said we can't do that. This is about cash and dollars, and there's no consequence for us to pressure. And they start pressuring the post office, to which the post office says, kick rocks. But then somewhere along the way, somebody says, okay, well, we're going to work with Amazon to do what the federal government told Amazon that it can't do. And when nobody is watching, they install the box. And of course, if people had the capacity to send that stuff off anonymous, that's one thing. But this is your job. And in a way that bosses or the company can put out this kind of pressure, this implicit pressure, this bias against a particular position, despite the fact that the position is in the best interest of the employees, if you can get those employees to bring those things to the company, it's pressure. I mean, look, they're going to clearly take this to whatever body, I believe the National Labor Relations Board, in order to complain and see if they can get a ruling on having a redo. But the NLRB had explicitly said no to this. And they still did it anyway. And the question becomes, well, is there going to be a consequence for this? Meaning, let's say for the moment, even if, which I don't contend, because Amazon would not have wanted that Dropbox there unless they realized that they can get some advantage out of it. After all, why would Amazon, think about it for yourself, why would Amazon waste this time saying, I want a Dropbox here, if they didn't believe that the Dropbox was going to matter one way or the other? They did it because they believed that they were going to get some effect for having those people bring those ballots in and putting those ballots into the bag. And the NLRB understood that they were going to get some advantage for it and said, no, you're not allowed to do that. This will be a mail-in contest. And Amazon said, I don't care. I don't care. This is about dollars, yo. And because this is about dollars, yeah, I don't care. The NLRB can say whatever the hell it wants. We are going to pressure our employees. We're going to press. We're going to create tension. Even when they go to take a piss or take a poop, it will be in the bathroom with them. Don't form that union. And what it seems like is all of the scheming, all of the pressure that has been applied And yeah, and the cheating has paid off. And Amazon getting a vote tally in their favor. This contest, I suppose, is not over with yet, but if the vote tally goes the way the vote tally is going, and the last I checked, it was maybe 40 minutes ago, it still was going this poorly, then yeah, this union vote is going to fail. But again, the question becomes whether or not the suit that is going to come immediately after this for Amazon basically breaking the rules, flagrantly ignoring an explicit ruling by the NLRB, will that be enough to overturn this election vote, to have a revote? I don't know. And I would imagine there's going to be all sorts of counts. There's going to be all sorts of back and forths even before this particular vote is finished, meaning there's going to be events that take place after this where these guys are probably going to still be haggling about it. But I'm just making the point that they cheated. That's the point that I'm trying to make. The NLRB, the government said you cannot form a union. You can't put a drop box right here. I don't know if I covered this story once before, but I think I did cover this story once before when this first came up. But basically, the NLRB explicitly rejected their request to host a Dropbox. What's that? That looks like a Dropbox. They did it anyway. That's aggravating. Employees take all of the risk in trying to form a union. They risk their jobs, they risk their livelihoods. I would imagine from the context of their life and everything else, they go there to work. And yeah, of course, they're going to want better working conditions and everything else. But there's nobody in government that's backing them up, not in any real sense. There's nobody in state or local government backing them up in any real sense. The company itself is against them entirely. And even their own workers who work beside them don't either have the balls, the stones, the sense to make a vote that is in their interest where they can organize and petition for their best interests. And yeah, all of the weight is against them. And even with all the weight against them, they still got this up for a unionization effort and a unionization vote. And look, a lot of people who were there said they had a lot of energy and drive and looked like this was a really good chance. So the question becomes, what happened between the energy and drive and now? And is that difference between those things the fact that Amazon basically blew off one of the rulings of the federal government in order to carry out this particular vote? Like, share, and subscribe.